This video is about Hope. She was just a nurse until a rich CEO bought him a company. If this story inspires you, please like the video, share it with loved ones, and write in the comments how it touched your heart. Part 1. She was just a nurse until a rich CEO bought him a company. In the heart of Oak Ridge, where the streets were lined with sycamores and the laughter of children echoed through the air, lived Maria Lopez. To the townsfolk, she was simply Nurse Maria, the kind-hearted woman who worked the night shift at the local hospital. With warm brown eyes and a smile that could light up the darkest of rooms, she had spent nearly a decade caring for patients, healing both bodies and spirits. Maria had a routine. Every evening, as the sun dipped beneath the horizon, she donned her scrubs, filling her pockets with bandages, syringes, and hope. The hospital was her second home, the patients her family. But the weight of her responsibilities sometimes felt heavy. More often than not, she would return home exhausted, her spirit worn down by the demands of the job. "Long day, Maria?" her elderly neighbor, Mrs. Jenkins, would ask, peering through the cracked front door. "Just another night of saving lives," Maria would reply, her voice carrying a hint of fatigue. One evening, while she was on her break, Maria sat in the hospital's small cafeteria, sipping her lukewarm coffee. The TV mounted on the wall flickered with news of corporate buyouts and stock market fluctuations. She half listened, her mind drifting to the patients who needed her care, each with their own story of struggle. Across town, in a sleek office overlooking the skyline, sat Jason Kingsley, the CEO of Kingsley Innovations. A self-made millionaire, he had built his empire with grit and determination. Yet, even amidst the trappings of success, he felt emptiness gnawing at his soul. The more wealth he accumulated, the more he craved connection and purpose. Business is thriving, but what's it all for? Jason pondered aloud during a meeting with his advisors. "I want to make a difference, something beyond profit margins and quarterly reports." His assistant, Mia, a vibrant young woman with a passion for philanthropy, suggested, "Why not invest in healthcare? You could transform lives, not just numbers." Jason considered her words. "Healthcare. It's a noble cause. Let's start by acquiring a few local clinics, then we'll see where it leads." Their initial plan was simple. A few renovations, upgraded technology, but as he delved deeper, he realized that there were hospitals and clinics across the nation struggling to provide adequate care. They needed more than just funding. They needed a vision. Back at Oak Ridge General, Maria focused on her patients, treating wounds, providing comfort, and offering a listening ear. One night, she met young Tommy, a boy of 8 with a broken arm. His face was streaked with tears, a testament to both the pain and fear. "Why are you crying, Tommy?" she asked, gently bandaging his arm. "I'm scared," he whispered. "What if it hurts forever?" Maria knelt beside him, her heart aching. "You know, sometimes we have to go through the hurt to come out stronger on the other side. It's okay to be scared, but you're not alone." As she spoke, Maria saw a flicker of hope in his eyes. It was moments like these that inspired her to keep pushing through her own weariness. She had a gift for touching lives, and she cherished every chance to make a difference. Weeks turned into months, and Jason's team acquired a number of healthcare facilities, including Oak Ridge General. On the day of the takeover, he flew in to meet the staff. Maria was assigned to give him a tour, her heart racing, not from excitement, but from anxiety. What if he didn't understand the heart behind the operations? As they walked to bustling halls, Maria explained the challenges they faced. "We are understaffed, and the resources are thin. But we do what we can for our community because they need us." Jason listened intently, noticing the dedication in her eyes. "You're doing the real work here," he said, a newfound respect growing in his voice. "I want to help you." That night, as Maria returned home, she couldn't shake the feeling of uncertainty. She understood that change was necessary, but what would it mean for her and her colleagues? Would they lose the soul of their beloved hospital? In the following weeks, Jason's plans began to unfold. He introduced technology upgrades, modernized equipment, and new training programs. Yet, while the improvements were welcomed, they brought an undercurrent of anxiety. Many staff members felt their positions were at stake. Maria, too, felt the shift. "This could be good for us, right?" her friend and fellow nurse Lisa asked as they shared a break in the cafeteria. "I hope so. But sometimes I worry they'll forget what makes us special, the heart that binds us," Maria replied, her voice tinged with concern. One evening, after a challenging shift, Maria found herself sitting on a park bench, gazing at the stars. The cool night air filled her lungs as she sought solace beneath the vast sky. She thought of the patients she couldn't help, the resources that were just out of reach, and the worries that consumed her. "Maria," a familiar voice pulled her from her thoughts. It was Jason, jogging past. He slowed down, recognizing her. "Hey," she said, surprised. "What brings you here?" "I needed to clear my head. The changes at the hospital are stirring up strong feelings," he admitted, taking a seat beside her. Maria nodded. "I understand. Change is hard, but we all want the same thing, better care for our patients." He regarded her thoughtfully. "It's easy to get lost in numbers and metrics. I want to make sure we don't lose sight of the patients. They deserve compassion, not just treatment." Touched by his sincerity, Maria shared her vision. Healthcare isn't just about fixing problems. It's about hope, connection, and kindness. That's what we need to prioritize. From that moment, a genuine partnership began to bloom between them. Maria and Jason collaborated on initiatives to enhance patient care. They organized community health fairs, wellness programs, and outreach to vulnerable populations, bringing not just resources but compassion to the forefront. As they worked together, Maria saw a different side of Jason. He was not just a wealthy CEO. He was a man who genuinely cared. They shared stories, laughter, and challenges, finding strength in one another's resilience. In those moments, Maria rediscovered her purpose. "It's incredible how we can inspire each other," she said during one of their late-night brainstorming sessions. "You remind me of why I became a nurse. You remind me of what it means to be human," he replied, his voice softening. "Together, we can change lives." But just as their dreams began to take shape, an unexpected challenge arose. A financial crisis hit the nation, sending shockwaves through the healthcare sector. Suddenly, budgets tightened, and employees were left on edge. Maria felt the weight of anxiety closing in. "Jason, what's going to happen?" she asked one afternoon, her heart racing as she watched the news of layoffs flash across the screen. "I don't know, Maria, but we're going to fight for our team," he replied firmly. "We can't let our vision slip away." With determination, they organized meetings, rallying the staff to advocate for their patients. Maria shared stories of the lives they had changed, igniting a spark of hope in their hearts. The nurses and doctors came together, united by a common purpose. As the hospital faced uncertainty, Maria's voice became a beacon of strength. "This is a storm we can weather together," she told her colleagues. "We've faced challenges before, and we will rise again." Days turned into weeks, and as they fought against the odds, Maria and Jason formed a bond deeper than either had anticipated. They inspired one another through vulnerability and tenacity, embodying the spirit of resilience. Through passion and hard work, they not only fought for their patients, but also for each other. And as the storm subsided, they emerged stronger, united by their shared vision, a promise to bring hope to a world that desperately needed it. The journey had merely begun, but Maria knew one thing for certain. They were in this together. And as they pressed forward, the seeds of hope they planted would one day blossom into a brighter future for their community. A future built on kindness, resilience, and unwavering spirit. Their story was just beginning. One fueled by the belief that even in the face of adversity, hope could flourish. Part 2. She was just a nurse, until a rich CEO bought him a company. Weeks passed since the budget crisis had shaken Oak Ridge General. Maria found herself in the break room with Lisa, sharing a quiet moment over steaming cups of coffee. The weight of uncertainty lingered like a heavy fog. "Do you think they'll really go through with layoffs?" Lisa asked, her voice betraying her anxiety as she looked out the window. The sun was rising, casting a golden glow over the hospital grounds. Yet dread still clung to the air. Maria sighed, stirring her coffee. "It's hard to say, but we've come too far to give up now. Remember the health fair we organized? We turned out so many families who needed our help." Lisa nodded, recalling the faces of grateful parents and children. "You're right. We have to keep reminding ourselves of that. We can't lose hope." Just then, Jason entered the break room, his expression serious but determined. "Hey, team. I wanted to meet with everyone today. We need to discuss our next steps." The room fell silent, all eyes on him. He took a deep breath, visibly gathering his thoughts. "I know the uncertainty has been tough, but I've been talking with advisors and we have a plan, a way to stabilize the hospital without losing any staff." Maria felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. "What do you have in mind?" Jason smiled, a glimmer of that earlier passion lighting up his features. "We're going to launch a fundraising campaign. I've committed my personal funds to kickstart it. We'll reach out to the community and local businesses, show them the difference we're making." In that moment, Lisa spoke up, her voice steady. "And we'll need to engage our patients and families. They can share their stories, showing how vital our care has been to them." "Exactly," Jason replied, nodding in agreement. "This will be a community effort. We will remind everyone that healthcare is about people, not just profits." As the meeting progressed, Maria felt her heart swell with gratitude for this man who had once seemed like a distant figure of corporate power. Now, he stood in solidarity with them, united in their mission. After the meeting, Maria approached Jason, her mind racing with possibilities. "I want to help with the campaign. We can organize events, maybe a fun run or a community picnic." Jason chuckled, his eyes lighting up. "I like that idea. A picnic would bring everyone together. People love to support what they can see and feel." "Let's do it," Maria said, her enthusiasm infectious. "We can involve local vendors and musicians, create a real sense of community spirit." And that's how the Hope for Health campaign was born. With each passing day, Maria and Jason worked tirelessly, collecting stories from patients, crafting promotional materials, and rallying support. Dual. It was a challenge, yet it felt invigorating, like a wave of positivity sweeping through Oak Ridge. One night, as they were finalizing details over coffee, Jason looked at her with sincerity. "Maria, I can't thank you enough. Your passion is contagious. You remind me every day why I wanted to invest in healthcare in the first place." Maria smiled, warmth spreading through her chest. "And you remind me that there's more to life than just our immediate worries. Every small act of kindness matters." As the campaign took off, the community responded with love and enthusiasm. The fun run was met with an overwhelming turnout. Families joined from all corners of Oak Ridge, wearing bright t-shirts emblazoned with Hope for Health. They ran, laughed, and shared stories, old and new. It was during one of those events that Maria met Mr. Thompson, an elderly gentleman whose wife had passed away in the hospital last year. His eyes were filled with emotion as he recounted their story. "Your team was incredible," he said, holding Maria's hands. "They gave my wife dignity in her final days. I may not have the funds to donate much, but I can volunteer my time." Touched, Maria squeezed his hands back. "Every bit helps, Mr. Thompson. Thank you for sharing your story. It's what this campaign is all about, connecting with one another." As the campaign gained momentum, it became more than just a fundraiser. It transformed into a movement that united the town. People began volunteering, businesses started donating supplies, and the hospital staff felt a renewed sense of purpose. Even the board meetings were filled with optimism. Jason presented the incoming funds to the board, detailing how the community had supported their efforts. We've shown that healthcare is not just a business, it's a lifeline, and we must continue to cultivate that bond. However, challenges still loomed large. Just when they began to breathe easier, a sudden storm of criticism from the local news surfaced. Some questioned Jason's motives, suggesting he was simply angling for a profit rather than community care. Maria felt a knot tightening in her stomach when she saw the headlines. CEO cashes in on community's plight? She felt the backlash ripple through the hospital. "Jason!" she called out, rushing into his office, her heart racing. "Have you seen the news? They're questioning your intentions." "I know," he replied, running a hand through his hair, frustration evident in his voice. "But we have to rise above it. Our work speaks for itself." "But the community needs to hear from us directly," Maria urged, her determination igniting. "We can't let doubt overshadow what we've accomplished. We should hold a town hall meeting." Jason's eyes met hers, and in that moment, he saw her unwavering spirit. "You're right. A town hall could bridge the gap. We need to invite those skeptics in." And so, they organized the meeting, a space for transparency and connection. The gymnasium was filled to capacity, the air thick with anticipation. Jason stood at the podium, looking out over the crowd. "Thank you all for coming," he began, his voice steady and resolute. "I understand that trust is earned, not given. I want to hear your concerns, and I want you to know that I'm here to serve Oak Ridge, not just financially, but with compassion." Maria felt the atmosphere shift as he spoke. She could see the tension in the crowd easing, curiosity replacing skepticism. The dialogue that followed was candid, and Jason listened intently, addressing each concern with sincerity. When it was Maria's turn to speak, she shared her journey. The late nights, the laughter, the tears. Healthcare is personal. It's about the people we care for. With every hand we hold, with every life we touch, we're reminded of our purpose. As she spoke, a hush fell over the crowd. Stories of hope and resilience flowed, creating an unbreakable bond. Together, they were not just healing a hospital, they were nurturing a community. After the meeting, as people began to disperse, Jason turned to Maria, emotion welling in his eyes. "You were incredible tonight. Thank you for believing in this with me." Maria smiled, the warmth of their shared journey enveloping her. "You're not just a CEO. You're part of this community now. And together, we can weather any storm." In the following weeks, the campaign exceeded initial expectations. Funds poured in, bolstering the hospital's resources. More importantly, the town was galvanized, united in their efforts to support one another. Maria felt the ripple of kindness spread through the hospital. Staff morale improved as they embraced the spirit of collaboration. Each nurse and doctor remembered why they entered the profession, because they wanted to make a difference. As she worked with Jason to implement new programs, Maria saw the fruits of their labor taking shape. New patient programs flourished and wellness initiatives transformed the hospital into a place of healing in every sense of the word. One evening, as they wrapped up yet another successful community event, Maria and Jason stood outside the hospital, breathing in the crisp night air. Stars twinkled overhead, mirroring the hope they had ignited. "Do you remember the first time we met on that park bench?" Jason said, looking at her with a gentle smile. "I was so lost then, and now I feel purpose again." "Me too," Maria replied, her heart swelling with gratitude. "We built something beautiful together, Jason. It's proof that when we unite for a greater cause, we can overcome any obstacle." In that quiet moment, they understood the depth of their journey. From uncertainty to hope, they had become advocates for change, not just for their hospital, but for each other and their community. As they walked back inside, Maria felt the warmth of the community enveloping her heart. They had faced trials, found strength in vulnerability, and cultivated a spirit of resilience. And in that journey, they learned that hope isn't just a fleeting feeling. It's a powerful force that, when shared, can illuminate even the darkest paths. With renewed vigor, Maria knew they would continue to fight for compassion in healthcare, one life at a time. Their story was far from over. It was just beginning, a testament to the beauty of the human spirit and the strength of unity. Part 3. She was just a nurse, until a rich CEO bought him a company. As autumn settled over Oak Ridge, the leaves turned golden, painting the town in hues of warmth and nostalgia. Maria felt the change in the air, a crispness that mirrored her own transformation. Together with Jason, they had navigated storms of doubt and uncertainty, emerging with a renewed sense of purpose. Yet, despite their successes, whispers of skepticism still lingered. The community had shown overwhelming support for their campaign, but not everyone was convinced of Jason's commitment. Maria could sense the divide during her shifts. Some believed in the promise of change, while others remained wary of the corporate influence looming over their beloved hospital. One evening, after a hectic day filled with patients and paperwork, Maria found herself in the break room with Lisa. The room was filled with laughter, but Lisa's expression was clouded with concern. "Maria, do you think we're really making a difference?" Lisa asked, her voice low. She fiddled with the coffee maker, avoiding eye contact. "What do you mean?" Maria replied, concerned. "Of course we are. Just look at the turnout at our health fairs. Families are coming together, and they appreciate what we do." Lisa sighed, glancing out the window at the setting sun. "I just worry this is all temporary. What happens when the excitement fades? Can we sustain this momentum?" Maria set her cup down, turning to face her friend. "I believe in us, Lisa. We have to remind ourselves that every small act counts. It's in those little moments of connection that we create lasting change." As if on cue, Jason entered the break room, his presence radiating energy. "Hey, team! I just received some fantastic news." His eyes sparkled with excitement, drawing their attention. "What is it?" Maria asked, a smile breaking across her face. "We're partnering with local schools to introduce health education programs," he announced, his voice booming. "We want to teach kids about nutrition, exercise, and mental health. It's about laying a foundation for future generations." Maria felt a surge of pride at his words. "That's amazing. Educating our youth is one of the most impactful things we can do. But there's more," Jason continued, his smile fading slightly. "We also have to address the skepticism in the community. I want to hold a town hall meeting to discuss these new initiatives and answer any questions." "That's a great idea," Maria said, her heart racing. "It's important for us to be transparent and connect with the community on a deeper level." As they brainstormed ideas for the event, Maria felt a renewed sense of purpose. They would share their vision, one rooted in compassion and collaboration. The weeks that followed were filled with planning and preparation. Flyers were distributed throughout Oak Ridge, inviting the community to join the town hall meeting. Every time Maria wrote a note or distributed a flyer, she felt a surge of hope. They were building a bridge, one that connected hearts and minds. On the night of the town hall, the gymnasium buzzed with anticipation. Families filled the seats, while children played in the corners, their laughter echoing against the walls. Maria stood at the front, her heart pounding. She glanced at Jason, who was adjusting his notes, his brow furrowed in concentration. "You've got this," she whispered, offering him a reassuring smile. "I just want to do right by this community," he replied, vulnerability flickering in his eyes. As the meeting began, Jason spoke openly about their intentions. "I understand that trust is earned, not given. My goal is to be a part of this community, to ensure that Oak Ridge General not only thrives as a hospital, but also as a cornerstone of compassion." Maria took a deep breath, stepping forward to share her experience. "When I first became a nurse, I wanted to touch lives, to offer hope. We're not just here to treat illnesses, we're here to heal souls." As she spoke, she could sense the crowd leaning in, their concerns starting to dissipate in the warmth of shared stories and mutual understanding. She shared anecdotes of patients whose lives had been transformed by the care and kindness of the hospital staff. When the floor opened for questions, a man stood up, his face shadowed by skepticism. You talk about compassion, but what happens when the funding runs out? Are we just going to be another statistic? Maria felt her heartbeat quicken. She had anticipated this moment, knowing that questions were necessary for growth. That's why we're here, she replied earnestly. It's not just about financial support. It's about building a community. We need every single one of you to be involved. Another voice chimed in from the back. What if we want to give our input? Will you listen? Absolutely, Jason answered, his voice filled with conviction. We want to hear your ideas. This is not just about us. It's about all of us. Together, we'll shape the future of healthcare in Oak Ridge. As the evening unfolded, the energy in the room shifted. Questions turned into discussions and hesitations started to melt away. Maria could see hope reigniting in their eyes, a belief that they could forge a path together. Later that night, after the town hall, Maria and Jason walked outside, their spirits lifted. The stars twinkled overhead, bright against the deep indigo sky. You were incredible tonight, Maria, Jason said, his voice filled with admiration. You have a way of connecting with people that makes them feel seen. Thank you, Jason. But it's all of us who make the difference, Maria replied, her heart swelling. We have powerful stories to tell, and now we have the chance to share them. In the days that followed, the hospital felt different. It buzzed with renewed energy as the community rallied around their initiatives. Volunteers stepped forward, eager to help with health education programs, and staff members felt invigorated by the sense of purpose. However, as they celebrated small victories, Maria was reminded of the fragility of their progress. One afternoon, as she checked on patients, she overheard two nurses discussing rumors of impending cuts from the corporate office. Have you heard? They're saying we might lose funding for the health education programs, one nurse whispered, her voice shaking with fear. Maria's heart sank. We can't let that happen, she said, determination rising within her. After her shift, she found Jason in his office, poring over spreadsheets. Jason, she began, urgency in her voice. I overheard some troubling news. We can't lose the funding for our community programs. We need to act fast. Jason looked up, his expression serious. I've been hearing the same thing, but we're not giving up without a fight. Let's rally the community again, remind them of what's at stake. With that spark ignited, they began organizing another town meeting. This time, they would focus on bringing the community together to voice their needs and advocate for support. On the night of the meeting, the gymnasium was even fuller than before. Maria felt a wave of emotion wash over her as she witnessed the strength of their community. Jason took the stage, standing tall amidst the crowd. We stand here today not just as hospital staff, but as your neighbors, your friends, and your advocates, he urged, his voice steady. We cannot allow cuts to undermine the incredible progress we've made together. We need your voices now more than ever. As hands shot up across the room, people shared their stories of how Oak Ridge General had impacted their lives. Unsurprisingly, one common thread emerged: hope. After the meeting, Maria felt a renewed sense of purpose. Although challenges lay ahead, the community's determination was palpable. And as they worked side by side, Maria discovered that resilience wasn't merely the absence of fear. It was the courage to keep fighting for what mattered. Days turned into weeks, and while uncertainty loomed, Maria and Jason remained unwavering in their commitment. Together, they focused on building connections, instilling hope, and fostering kindness. One afternoon, as they worked on a health fair, Maria caught Jason staring out the window, a contemplative look on his face. "What's on your mind?" she asked, walking over. He turned to her, his eyes reflecting a mixture of gratitude and concern. "I'm just thinking about how far we've come, but it's also daunting, knowing the challenges that still lie ahead." Maria placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. "We faced adversity together, and we've grown stronger because of it. Every challenge is an opportunity to rise, to remind ourselves of the light we carry." As the date of the health fair approached, excitement filled the air. The townspeople were engaged, and the hospital staff felt invigorated by renewed purpose. As they prepared for the event, Maria looked around at her colleagues, each one embodying resilience, a testament to the beauty of the human spirit. On the day of the fair, the sun shone brightly over Oak Ridge. Families wandered through booths filled with information about health, nutrition, and wellness. Maria's heart swelled with gratitude as she witnessed the community come together, united in their desire for better health. In the midst of the hustle and bustle, Maria spotted Mr. Thompson, the elderly gentleman she had met at the previous fair. He stood at a booth, sharing his story with young families, his voice steady and warm. "Healthcare is about compassion," he said, gesturing passionately. "These nurses and doctors are here for us." And Part 4. She was just a nurse, until a rich CEO bought him a company. As the success of the Hope for Health campaign reverberated through Oak Ridge, Maria felt the weight of responsibility settle heavily on her shoulder. The community rallied behind them, yet amidst the joy, doubts crept in. Would this momentum last? Could they sustain the change they had set in motion? One evening, while preparing her notes for the next health fair, Maria found solace in the small garden behind the hospital. The flowers were still blooming, vibrant against the backdrop of the setting sun. She inhaled deeply, allowing the sweet fragrance to wash over her like a warm embrace. "Hey, Maria," came Jason's voice, interrupting her thoughts as he strolled into the garden. He paused beside her, a hint of concern etched on his face. "Aren't you supposed to be at the meeting with the board right now?" She chuckled softly, brushing a stray hair behind her ear. "I decided I needed a moment of peace before diving into another round of numbers and projections. Sometimes it feels overwhelming." Jason nodded, his expression softening. "I get it. The passion we're igniting is beautiful, but it's also a heavy mantle to bear." "Exactly," she replied, looking him in the eye. "There are days when I worry we won't be able to keep this up. With the hospital's funding still uncertain, I fear the community might lose faith." Jason ran a hand through his hair, clearly grappling with the same fears. "We can't let that happen. We've come too far to let doubt creep in. We have to remind them why we're doing this, why compassion matters." "You're right," Maria said, her heart swelling with determination. "Together, we're building something greater than ourselves. We will keep pushing forward, no matter what." The next few weeks were a whirlwind of activity. The health fair approached, and excitement permeated the air. Maria and Jason worked tirelessly to ensure everything was in place. They coordinated with local vendors, organized workshops, and invited guest speakers who could share their expertise on health and wellness. On the day of the fair, a sea of vibrant colors greeted them as families filtered into the hospital grounds, laughter and chatter creating a melody of joy. Maria and Jason stepped outside to the bustling scene, their hearts swelling with pride. "Look at this turnout!" Jason exclaimed, his eyes scanning the crowd. "I never imagined we'd see such an outpouring of support." Maria smiled, feeling the warmth of the sun on her skin and the love emanating from the community. "It's incredible. This is what we envisioned, a celebration of health and connection." As they moved through the booths, Maria spotted Mr. Thompson, now a fixture in the community, enthusiastically sharing his story with a group of parents. His passion was infectious, radiating warmth as he spoke. Healthcare isn't just about medicine. It's about kindness and compassion. That's what these nurses bring to us. Maria felt a tear prick at the corner of her eyes. Moments like this reaffirmed her belief in their mission. "We're making a real impact, Jason," she said, emotion thick in her voice. "And it's all because we came together." But just as the day seemed perfect, a stark reminder of their reality emerged. Midway through the fair, Maria received an urgent text from Lisa. "Funding cuts confirmed. We need to discuss ASAP." Her heart sank, the joy of the day overshadowed by a sudden wave of dread. "Is everything okay?" Jason asked, sensing her shift in energy. Maria took a deep breath, her voice low. "It's Lisa. They just confirmed the funding cuts we feared. We need to act fast to keep our programs alive." Jason's expression hardened, determination replacing the earlier lightness in his eyes. "We can't let this setback derail us. We'll hold a community meeting tonight. Rally everyone again and explain what's happening." "Absolutely," Maria agreed, her resolve strengthening. "If the community stands united, we can show them how much we've accomplished together. We need their voices." That evening, the gymnasium filled once again, the air thick with anticipation. Maria and Jason stood side by side at the podium, their hearts racing as they faced the crowd. The room buzzed with murmurs, the atmosphere tense as they understood the stakes. "Thank you all for coming tonight," Jason began, his voice steady. "We're here to discuss something that affects us all. Recent budget cuts threaten our community programs, but we won't stand by and watch that happen." A ripple of concern swept through the crowd, and Maria felt the weight of every worried face. "We've made great strides together," she interjected, her voice strong. "Our health fairs have brought us closer, and we can't lose that momentum." From the back, a voice called out, "What can we do to help?" Maria smiled, a spark igniting within her. "We need your stories. Share how Oak Ridge General has impacted your lives. We'll compile these testimonials and present them to the board. They need to see the heart of this community." The crowd buzzed with growing energy, participants eager to share. One by one, families stood up, recounting stories of kindness, care, and hope. A mother shared how the hospital had saved her child's life with swift action and compassion. An elderly gentleman spoke about the dignity the staff had given his late wife in her final days. With each story, Maria felt the power of unity envelop them. They were more than just a community. They were a family woven together by resilience and love. As the final story came to a close, erupted, filling the room with a sense of determination. Jason stepped forward, a fire in his eyes. "Together we'll create a petition, gather signatures, and present it to the board. We won't back down. We're not just fighting for funding. We're fighting for our community." The crowd erupted in spirited agreement, voices rising in a chorus of unity. "We won't let them take this away from us," someone shouted, and others echoed the sentiment, their resolve palpable. As the meeting drew to a close, Maria felt an overwhelming sense of hope wash over her. This wasn't merely a fight for funding. It was a clarion call for connection. They were igniting a fire within the community, rallying around kindness, compassion, and resilience. In the following days, they collected signatures, and the momentum grew. News of their efforts spread, garnering support from nearby towns. People rallied around them, recognizing the importance of community health care. Maria's heart soared as she witnessed the light in people's eyes, the belief that together they could make a difference. One evening, as they prepared to present their petition to the board, Maria turned to Jason, her heart racing. What if they don't listen? What if all of this isn't enough? Jason placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We've done our part. We've shown them the heart of Oak Ridge. Even if they don't see it now, we won't let this be the end of our story. We'll keep fighting." With newfound determination, they entered the boardroom, flanked by supporters from the community. As they presented their case, Maria felt the weight of their stories behind her, a tapestry of hope woven through the fabric of their lives. The board's response was slow, but after what felt like an eternity, the chairperson nodded. "We recognize the value of community support, and we hear your concerns. We will review the petition and consider its implications." As they left the meeting, uncertainty hung in the air, but Maria felt a warmth within her. They had shown courage in the face of adversity, and that was a victory in itself. As they stepped outside, sunlight bathed them, illuminating the path ahead. "Whatever happens next, we've built something beautiful," Jason said, his voice filled with conviction. "This community is alive with hope." Maria nodded, her heart swelling. "We've learned that resilience isn't just about enduring but thriving together. We will carry this spirit forward no matter what." As days turned into weeks, the board deliberated, and the community remained vigilant, rallying around the hospital. The day finally arrived when they would hear the board's decision. Maria and Jason stood together, holding hands, hearts racing with anticipation. When the decision was announced, a wave of relief washed over them. The board agreed to reinstate funding for their community programs, recognizing the profound impact Oak Ridge General had on the town. Cheers erupted, voices ringing out in celebration as Maria felt tears of joy streaming down her face. In that moment, she realized something powerful. Hope was not just a fleeting feeling, but a force that could illuminate even the darkest times. The community had rallied together, standing tall in adversity, and they had emerged victorious. As she looked around at the faces of her friends, colleagues, and neighbors, Maria knew that this was only the beginning. They had forged connections that would last a lifetime, built a legacy of kindness and resilience that would ripple through generations to come. Hand in hand, Maria and Jason stepped forward into a future filled with possibilities. They had redefined the spirit of healthcare in Oak Ridge, reminding everyone that compassion would always triumph over fear. Together, they had shown the world that even in the face of adversity, the beauty of the human spirit could shine brightly, igniting hope and inspiring change. And as they pressed forward, Maria knew they would continue to write their story. 1.